Minister is said to have advised the King to appoint the President of the Court of Appeal. However, the Attorney General says the advice was unconstitutional because coalition partners in the cabinet were not consulted. Protesters say regardless of the circumstances, the King's decision should be respected. Last week, thousands filled the streets wearing traditional dress and T-shirts with the face of the King. The campaign is called Hands Off Our King. And now for more on that story, we are joined on the line by SABC reporter Ntakwana Ngatana. Ntakwana, a very good afternoon to you. Interesting times in the Mountain Kingdom ahead of the elections next week. When did all this happen? We know that the SADC intervention and the Lesotho Court stated that the President of Court couldn't be appointed until after the elections. What happened to that agreement?
Indeed, Alicia, this is actually the reason why we have the meeting that is happening in Pretoria that will be headed by the heads of state of the SADC Troika to address two key issues, one being the violation of that electoral pledge that stipulates that there will be no appointment or firing or a demotion or promotion of senior government officials. But of course, the Prime Minister says at the end of that clause, it says, as long as the laws of Lesotho are followed, he can do that. And this is what he based his decision in terms of appointing the President of the Court of Appeal on. Now, in terms of the issues today, we are here because, as you've rightfully said, we have a case in court, and that case is part of, as far as the Deputy Prime Minister is concerned, the violation of the electoral pledge.
Ntakwana, did King Letsie III appoint the head of court, and when was this done?
Well, King Letsie III saw in, or rather approved the appointment with the advice of the Prime Minister, because the Prime Minister advises the King, and the King then approves that appointment. And then after that, the President of the Court of Appeal was then sworn in. That's about 2 weeks ago. And that happened even though senior lawyers in the country had written a letter saying that they are unhappy, particularly because of the electoral pledge that has been signed by the leaders in the coalition, but all the parties in Lesotho to create a climate conducive for elections here in Lesotho. But also civil society coming out to say that it is concerned that those new appointments might cause the election itself to be overburdened with issues that have to be resolved post-election, or even victimization of people that are newly appointed in this period leading to election, because the people that will then take over will not be in agreement with the appointments that are being made currently. Alicia?
Ntakwana, well, has the court made its decision? Can you tell us more about that at this stage?
No, Alicia, this was a constitutional court that was made up of 3 judges from South Africa, specifically, I suppose, because they did not want to appoint judges that may be seen to be aligned to anybody in Lesotho. The 3 judges sat and formed a constitutional court, and that constitutional court had both sides of the applicant and the respondent. The applicant, Attorney General, saying that he believes that the Prime Minister should not act unilaterally, that he should consult his counterparts in government. But the opponents, the respondents in the case, saying that in any country there has to be someone accountable, and in this case the Prime Minister should be a leader who makes the final decision. But the court has now reserved its judgment. It will deliver that judgment at a later stage. But Basotho, when we spoke to them afterwards, saying that they are really concerned that if they go to elections without that decision, that perhaps it may hamper or impact on the election itself. And so we wait for the court to deliver its judgment. Alicia?
We'll track that development on that story. That was SABC reporter Ntakwana Ngatana.